Israel has not one, but two classic descriptions. Some people say Israel is the Holy Land. You know why they say that? Because Israel is the Holy Land. But it has not one description, but two descriptions. We're not only the Holy Land, Israel is also the startup nation. The startup nation is commonly used to understand the phenomenon that Israel is leading the world in technological innovations. This is a fact. There are more startups in Israel per capita than any other country in the world. Now, this is creating a new kind of tourism in Israel. Yeah, I know we have COVID. Tourists are not coming. Hopefully they'll be coming more lately. But before COVID and after COVID, we're seeing more and more of this new kind of tourism. The tourists that come to Israel to understand the secret sauce of Israeli technology. What's the innovation? What are the ideas being generated in Israel? And how is it that Israelis are so innovative? I don't know the truth. I know that is a question that humanity is asking, or people in the world are asking about Israel. They come to Israel to visit startups, companies like Waze, like Mobileye. This is added to the regular kind of tourists, not the ones coming to visit the startup nation, the kind that come to visit the Holy Land, that come to visit the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, Bethlehem, Temple Mount, Haram el-Sharif, the Wailing Wall. These are two kinds of tourists. The regular kind, the ordinary kind, the classic kind, the kind that come to visit the homeland, the Holy Land. Those are the kind that come to visit the past. The type of tourists that come to visit the startup nation, they come to visit the future. You see, these two stories combined is the story of Israel. People come here to visit the past, the origins of Western civilization, and they come to visit the future ideas. They're going to design the future of civilization. That is Israel, where the past and the future meet. And this is an important idea, I think, because many times modernity and tradition alone are not enough. We need them both. We need them to meet to solve serious problems. And my friends, we have serious problems in the world today. And the number one problem I want to think about today, is political polarization. It's all over the world. People hating other people just because of their worldviews, just because they are right-wingers, left-wingers, Republicans, Democrats, liberals, conservatives. And we know why. Lately, a lot of news is coming out of Facebook. And we know why there is high levels of political polarization today. Because social media is dividing us, and we all know why. Because it traps our minds in echo chambers, where we hear our own views again and again and again, repetitively. We're brainwashed by ourselves. This is what Eli Fraser calls auto-propaganda. And when you brainwash yourself with your own worldview, you start despising people with different worldviews. This is a modern problem. I think it has a traditional solution, or at least traditional inspiration for a solution. And here I want to take us all back, not to the Talmud, not to the Bible, but to the Talmud, a sacred Jewish text. The Hebrew Bible is a text that many of us share. The Talmud is a Jewish text that I think many of our Christian friends around the world are less acquainted with, and let me make an introduction. What is the Talmud? The Talmud is the following weird text. It's a canonization of an argument. Yes, you heard me right. Jews throughout the ages argued about the law. That argument became a sacred text. The law did not become a sacred text. The argument about the law became a sacred text. This is a great observation by an Israeli scholar, my teacher, Moshe Halbertal. The Talmud is the canonization of an argument. What does this mean? What does this mean to Jews around the world that on the one hand, they obey the law. On the other hand, they study Talmud, which is an argument about the law. You know what that means? It means that Jews throughout generations always study ideas and opinions that they do not live by. They study two sides of the argument about the law. while they only practice one side of the argument about the law, which means when we study Talmud, we are studying ideas we do not live by. You see, echo chambers of Facebook and the Talmud are opposites. The echo chamber of Facebook traps our minds inside our own worldview. The Talmud is about liberating your mind from yourself, from your own worldview, listening to ideas you will not live by, but you'll still be curious about. You'll still be listening to them. We have a real problem, political polarization. It's generated by social media. It's a modern problem. Maybe it has a traditional solution, a Talmudic solution. A modern Israel inspired by the Talmud is a modern Israel where we glorify the argument, where we listen to all sides. That is a Talmudic Israel. I must conclude. A Talmudic Israel, an Israel where modernity and tradition meet. A Talmudic Israel, an Israel which is also the land of the Talmud and also the land of technology, is a land where we do have ancient solutions to modern problems. And what does that mean? It means that Israel does not only lead the world in technological innovation, it also leads the world in creating the culture that protects our minds and democracies from technology itself. Leading in technology, leading in creating the culture that protects our minds from technology. Thank you very much.